Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Be Good Leadership. I am Ronnie Caldwell, and looking forward to talking to you a little bit about some things that might be able to help you, not just in your leadership journey, but of course, in your life every day. So, recently, a student came up to me in school and said, "Don't you ever just wish that you could just make someone just stop being who they are?" and she said, "And how do you do that?" And like, but how would you do that? And I was flattered that the student actually thought that I might have an answer to that. Um, but I think what we ended up having a conversation about was something that I think everyone needs to know, realize, and accept. If you're going to be good with people, if you're going to be better in your relationships. And the idea around that is that people change when they're ready. No one actually changes anybody. No one actually forces anyone to make a deep and significant change that's going to last in their life. You might get someone because of a position of authority or power that you have. You might get them to fake it for a little while. You might get them to give you obedience. But real change, that comes from when that person's ready. People change on their own clock. They change on their own time scale. It makes more sense in life, and what I told the student and what I continually tell teachers, administrators, anybody who I work with, my own children, friends, is that it makes more sense to focus on who you are and the way of being that you exhibit in the world. There's more power there, there's more control there. And you've heard, I mean, I guess in all the stuff on, stoicism and whatever insight or trendy thing that's on the internet, you're always going to hear that focus on what you can control. And that's great advice. It's time tested. It comes up over and over again in different cultures, different contexts, which makes me believe that it's meaningful. And really, that focus on what you can control is focusing on how you show up in the world. The idea of changing anyone, let go of that. Let go of this idea that you're going to give this certain piece of advice, you're going to say things in a particular way, or that if you just had this situation or these people or this rule or this system, that all of a sudden you would change a bunch of people. You're actually going to have more luck in your life and in your leadership is if you decide and tell yourself each morning, how is it that I want to show up? How is it that I want to approach people? How do I want to speak with people? And when you do that, and a lot of what I talk about here in Be Good Leadership is really, I don't really have a 5 steps to this, 7 steps to that, 3 things that you do and it changes everything. I have tips, I have ways of being, I have mind frames. It's not really a system, right? It's a practice, it's an embodiment of particular beliefs and values. And so you have to get aligned first with what's most important to you. And for me, that is always, how do I show up honest and kind every day? How do I make sure that I'm grateful? How do I make sure that I'm open to learning? Right. And so with those things, I have to focus in on each day. What does it mean to be honest with someone in a kind way? What does it mean to show kindness even when there's a difficult conversation or a difficult scenario coming up? Am I making sure to be grateful? What do I have to be grateful for? And am I not taking anything for granted? And then how do I show up with enough humility that I'm able to learn in all contexts, in all environments, right? And so when I do that and when I've focused on myself and when I've focused on myself in the way of how I can be better for other people. So it's this weird kind of selfishness, right? It's this idea of how do I focus on how I'm behaving, how I'm showing up in the world so that I can be better for other people, so that I can provide something. And I think that when we do this and the more that we do this, and from what I've seen in my experience in different organizations I've worked with, different schools, and the feedback I've gotten, is the more that I show up well, the more that I am able to embody the things that I think are most valuable, the more chance I have to influence. And that influence sometimes makes a difference in somebody's life, makes a difference in somebody's day, or in just that particular moment. Um, so much about people are scared about meetings. They're scared about an interaction. They're scared about if you can just provide this sort of source for someone else to come into a place where they were scared and instead they feel like actually that wasn't bad at all. I could do that again. that was a much better meeting. That was a much better conversation than I thought it was going to be. I was able to be honest with that person in a way I didn't think I was going to be able to be honest with them about. Maybe they tap into the better part of themselves. Maybe with less fear, less anxiety, they're able to be more the person that they want to be. And so, in this way, when I was talking to the student about this, maybe that is the best chance we have of changing someone. Maybe that is the best chance we have of influencing someone for the better. They're not going to be the person that exactly we want them to be, but maybe by us trying to be a bit better at being who we want to be, at showing up the way we feel is in line with who we are and what we value, maybe that ends up helping that person to do the same. But we can't depend on that either. We can't just say that, and if they don't right when we want them to, we can't get discouraged either and say, well, this doesn't work. The value is in being who we know we should be for ourselves. And we have to have faith that over time, maybe that allows other people to do the same, to be their best self. Anyway, the advice is free. And as always, you don't have to take it, but be good.